Howdy gamers, let's talk about the runes for Katarina mid lane. Um, there's really not a whole lot to it, it's just mainly the variations in the secondary tree, because a lot of what Katarina wants to achieve through her runes is getting access to damage that she otherwise couldn't, and a lot of what Katarina is looking to do is get damage that also builds up as she's getting resets, or to help her get the resets. So that's why the main keystones for her are going to be Conqueror and Electrocute. Dark Harvest has its place, but Dark Harvest is probably more for higher MMR, and then also things like really have to fall into place for Dark Harvest to gain more value on Katarina, as a lot of the advantages that you can gain on Katarina is through her levels 1 to 4 in lane, especially in solo queue. You should be looking to abuse opponents that don't really know like what the champion does, and then therefore you can just solo kill them levels 1 to 4, and with that, or with Electrocute, it's going to help you do that. And then with Conquer, generally in team fights, you're going to build up the AP offered by it and the healing, and then that's going to make you um, slipperier in a team fight, and then also have more AP for your ult when you're in position to actually ult. With Dark Harvest, it's more like it makes your janitorial duty a lot more valuable, which is okay, but it's better to have tools to like punish the enemy versus not. So if you're at a higher MMR, Dark Harvest probably does gain more value, but in general, I think you should be looking to go Conqueror or Electrocute. Starting off with Conqueror, basic attacks and abilities that damage an enemy champion grant you 2 stacks of Conqueror, and then for every stack of Conqueror you have, you gain bonus ability power for Katarina, and then Conqueror stacks up to 10 times. When it's fully stacked, you heal for 15% of all the damage that you deal. So the healing isn't that crazy, as usually you're just getting your W, E, and ult off, and then that's the healing that you really get from Conquer, as you're usually stacking it up with the first rotation of your abilities. But the healing with Conquer plus Gunblade isn't so bad, and where Katarina is also hard to hit, and then also generally like always casting an ability on the enemy if she's on them, then it does have okay synergy. Where you're building up AP with Conquer too, it has pretty good synergy with her ult, as you're usually casting a full rotation of your abilities before casting the ult, and then her ult can have an insane, like a really insane AP ratio if it fully goes off. So like in an ideal scenario where Katarina gets to cast everything on top of the enemy and there's no retaliation, and she doesn't get CC during the ult, it's fantastic. Really good rune. The second rune, well, once you take Conqueror, you're in the precision tree, and then your only options are Triumph, Tenacity, and then Coup de Grace. Overheal gives you no value, attack speed, lifesteal gives you no value, and Coup de Grace has way more synergy with Katarina's kit than Cut Down or Last Stand would have. Last Stand is for like bruiser champions that spend their HP before they go in. Since Katarina is an assassin, she's not really spending her HP to go in, and then with Coup de Grace, you deal 8% more damage to champions who are less than 40% health, so has natural synergy with what she's trying to do, kill champions when they're low health that she gets on top of. With Triumph, you restore 12% of your missing health and grants you an additional 20 gold whenever you get a kill or assist. That, in combination with Conquer, again, makes you slipperier in team fights, as it's really hard for the enemy to kill you if you're getting the kills and assists and healing from Gunblade, Conquer, and from getting kills and assists. With Legends Tenacity, it just gives you tenacity, and you build this up through doing almost anything in the game, getting a kill or assist, killing an objective, killing jungle camps or minions. So eventually you build this up and you have about as much tenacity as you would with Merc Treads. And if you end up building Merc Treads, especially into comps in which Merc Treads really help Katarina's, so against mid lane champions like Syndra, Ornn, against junglers like Zac, against supports like Nautilus, Leona, etc. If you have Legend Tenacity plus Merc Treads, it makes it really lame for those champions to try to deal with you, because even if they CC you, you're not CC'd for as long, and then you can get out and then go back in later. So Legend Tenacity gains a lot of value for Katarina. And then for the secondary runes, really your only good options is Domination with Sudden Impact and Relentless Hunter. Sudden Impact gives you Magic Pin and Lethality whenever you blink in, so whenever you use your E flash, or if you build a Proto Belt or something, then you're going to have 7 Lethality and 6 Magic Pin for 5 seconds. And 5 seconds is a really long time for Katarina, where you can basically get every single ability off in that duration. And then with Relentless Hunter, it's going to give you out of combat movement speed that builds up per unique takedown. So with the Bounty Hunter stack, it's like you kill the top laner, it's 1 Bounty Hunter stack, you kill the jungler, it's 1, etc. The Relentless Hunter is basically for resetting back to your lane after you recall, and then moving to side lanes once you've pushed out the mid wave. And then come mid game, it's to move to a fight or move to an objective after you've been in a side lane, or to run away from champions who are trying to respond to you in a side lane. So all of that really outweighs any other option for the secondary runes. Something like Taste of Blood and Ravenous Hunter is kind of common, but I just don't think it's good on Katarina, as with Taste of Blood, you heal whenever you damage the enemy champion, so you can easily proc this with your Q in the laning phase. And then with Ravenous Hunter, you heal for a percentage of damage dealt by your abilities. Since you already have healing from Conqueror, Triumph, and Gunblade, I really don't think you need this, versus having the roam potential and then the extra damage from sudden impact. With Taste of Blood, this is a rune for like control mages to keep them at healthier amounts of HP to have control over the lane. If Katarina is already naturally losing the lane, this isn't going to save you. You might as well just concede that you lose the lane early and then let the mini wave push into you. There's really no fighting it. And then with Ravenous Hunter, you have to stack it up, so like if it's fully stacked, sure, it's going to heal you more, but if you're just instantly killing everyone anyways, that healing doesn't matter. And with Relentless Hunter, if you're getting more successful roams off, not only are you winning the game harder, but then you get access to more items that will let you instantly kill the opponent, making healing irrelevant. Kind of the same thought process, which is why I think Resolve is pretty bad, with the most common thing being Bone Plating and Overgrowth. With Overgrowth, you basically gain health for being near minions that die, and then with Bone Plating, you block damage based on your level, and it's on a 45-second cooldown. So with Bone Plating, it's kind of the same thing, where it's like, it's a laning tool that helps you, but it's not really going to help you that much, as if you're already in a bad matchup, then there's nothing to really do other than to wait for the minion wave. So, and then with Overgrowth, having the extra health from it is okay, but it doesn't outweigh the damage from sudden impact, which is basically a minor keystone for Katarina, and then the roam potential from Relentless Hunter. So that's my thoughts on that. This page is completely fine, and I think with Conqueror you should be looking to run it into probably bruiser champions. So basically any melee champion in the mid lane, as Electrocute would be okay against them, but with Conqueror, those champions probably aren't going to die instantly, so building up your AP against them and then having a more impactful ult is more likely. And then come mid to late game, Conqueror is going to achieve about the same thing in a team fight. You do lose out on the burst from not having Electrocute, but the trade-off in a melee matchup is completely fine. For the shards, you want to go ability power, and then depending on your matchup, you want to switch the resistance to either armor or magic pin. Armor, if you're into obviously an AD matchup, so Zed, Kiana, Lucian, etc., and then magic resist for a, get this, magic damage matchup, so Syndra, Orianna, etc. So going to Electrocute, it puts you in the Domination tree, and then you can have Electrocute, Sudden Impact, Eyeball Collection, and Relentless Hunter. Basically only gaining the Eyeball Collection in Electrocute from the other page. And then with Electrocute, every hitting an enemy champion with 3 separate attacks or abilities in 3 seconds deals bonus adaptive damage to them. So even if you're taking short trades in the laning phase, it acts as like an offensive defensive laning tool, because if you're into a ranged champion such as Syndra, Orianna, and then you land the Q and then you have an opportunity to E onto your dagger, then you take that and then you can proc Electrocute with that plus the auto or the E, and then with that you've damaged the enemy just a little bit, and then you can go back to your minions and then wait for the minion wave from there. And then you're on the next rotation of your Electrocute and your abilities, then you most likely have a lethal on a ranged champion if you've done that once. So it can act like a laning tool in that sense. It can also act as just more damage to set up your first reset, because if Katarina is not killing a target in a fight, things gets really, really awkward for her. And with Electrocute, you can only proc this onto one champion in a fight, unlike Conqueror, who the value can apply to multiple champions. Same with Dark Harvest. But with Electrocute, not only do you have effectively cheese potential in the early laning phase in a lot of matchups, but then you also have the opportunity to single out one squishier champion on the enemy team and then kill them almost guaranteed with a full rotation of abilities. So think about killing the AD carry, the support, etc. With Sudden Impact, the same value is gained from the Conqueror page. And then with Eyeball Collection, With any of the runes in this row, you're choosing how you gain the ability power from them. Zombie Ward is through clearing wards, Ghost Poro is through placing wards, and Eyeball Collection is getting kills and assists. So you could run Ghost Poro if you're looking to get the ability power more consistently, but with Eyeball Collection, you can stack it up a lot faster, especially if you get First Blood and then multiple kills through a skirmish, then it's easier to build it up. And then that's just access to more ability power that you otherwise wouldn't be able to get at certain points in the game. And then if you're running this page, I think you would still go back to the precision tree and run Coup de Grace plus Triumph, or Coup de Grace plus Legend Tenacity if you needed it, depending on the matchup. So, but most of the times it'd be Triumph, as the healing from it is pretty impactful, especially for Katarina, where you're usually going down to the wire with things. But if you don't have Coup de Grace, then you are just missing out on damage that you otherwise could have, and you don't really get it from any other source in the runes. So Coup de Grace is so valuable for Katarina, as again you deal more damage to targets who are low. So that's really it with Katarina runes. There's nothing too crazy, and I think they're pretty set in stone for her. So yeah, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I answer literally all of them. If this video helped you, leaving a like on the video helps me. And if you're interested in watching me play or talk about League of Legends, you can check out my Twitch. It's twitch.tv/SawyerNelson. Links in the description. And that's that. Katarina, kind of a scourge of a champion, you know? Like, get to kill level 2? Well, guess my game's over. GG.